All right, so we created it. Obviously, we read the information from a database. So we are doing a CRUD now. So CRUD is create, read, update, and delete. So we already read the information, we already created the information, and then we already updated the information. The last thing left from that CRUD is delete. Now let's talk about delete. So to delete an invoice using a server action, wrap the delete button in a form element and pass the ID to the server action using bind. So we're going to do the same exact thing, but this time we are going to, let me go ahead and first close all this. And we are going to go to UI. We're going to go to invoices, okay? And we are going to go to the button.tsx, okay? So these are the buttons that correspond to these links right here, these buttons right here. So we have a create invoice, we have an update, we have a delete here right now. Okay, so create invoice, update invoice, we have the delete invoice. Okay, so here what we want to do is we are going to, again, import a function that we are going to create in your actions. That's going to call delete invoice, just like we did here, like an update invoice. We are going to do similar thing. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be async function, and we're going to call this delete invoice, right? Just going to save that. Let's put this as a string right now. We're going to change this in a bit. But I want to import this, so this is where it is coming from. Okay, cool. And then here in the delete invoice function, we're gonna do the exact same thing, right? We're gonna do delete invoice with ID is equal to, we're gonna call the delete function, delete invoice, and then we're just gonna bind this, and we're gonna bind this the same way, null with ID. Okay, and this delete invoice is coming from this delete invoice. So once we bind this, here we have to, because we are using form server actions, it's only going to be usable inside a form. So let's go ahead and make this a form. Okay, and this is just a button span, and so we can add the property called action, and here we're going to just simply do delete invoice with ID. Simple as this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and in the action.ts, let's fix this now. Function delete invoice. What it's going to take is actually going to take only ID, and it is going to be a type of string. And here we are going to just await. So run as SQL, which is going to be pretty much simple. We're going to just delete. Let's say the SQL command delete. We're going to say from. This is the table we want the delete, where ID is equals to the ID that we pass in to the function right here. As simple as this. And then we are going to revalidate the path. And it's going to, actually, let's go ahead and just copy paste this, because it's the same thing. We are going to be in the invoices URL in order for us to delete this. We don't have to go anywhere else, right? So yeah, since the action is being called in dashboard invoices path, we don't need to call the redirect, because there's nowhere to redirect here. I'm going to refresh, and let's go ahead and delete the record that we created. So 112, and let's see, there you go, revalidated, and then showing the new data. So let's go 2, 3, and come back to 1. You see that our record has been deleted. Awesome, so we have completed the CRUD. Now, let's talk about, because right now we are doing create, update, delete, and everything, and we are validating data and stuff. And we are communicating with the database. What if something went wrong? What if your database could not save the data? So let's go ahead and handle that error that we talked about before, right? So this is where we are going to learn how to handle errors using the server actions and stuff like that. So what we want to do is we want to first going to just add try catch to our server actions. And then we'll try our functions. If something goes wrong, we're going to catch it. So first, to do that, and that's why we created this separate file called action.ts. So here what we want to do is open up a try catch, and we are just going to grab, this is always have to happen at the end, right? So we are going to just grab this, cut this, and put this into our try block. So try this, okay? And then if anything happens, any errors, then in our case, return. We're just going to return an object with a message property, and we're just going to say database error, failed to create invoice. Simple as this. If anything happens, if this SQL command fails, it's going to catch that error and immediately return this message. But if there's no error, then the code never reaching the catch block, and it's gonna go directly to revalidatePath and redirect. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the update invoice function. So let's go ahead and copy this one right here. We are going to paste the SQL information, and we are going to return a message. It's going to be database error, failed to update invoice. Okay, let's go and do the same thing with our delete function as well. And here what we want to simply do is try catch block. We are going to get this here, and side we are also going to get the entire thing here this time, okay, and add a return message with database error, failed to delete invoice. Save. That's pretty much it. We are going to, because the reason we want to revalidate the path, because we want to also return a message here, is everything passes, that we deleted that invoice, right? There you go. Save this. That's how you pretty much handle the error. Now, we also want to say that you see that there's a difference between here. I did not redirect and revalidate path. I added outside of the try catch block, but in here, delete function actually added the revalidate path and returned a message inside the try block. The reason is because of the redirect, right? Redirect works by throwing an error, so which would be caught by the catch block. So to avoid this, so redirect is gonna throw an error. So if we do put this inside there, it's gonna catch it, and it's gonna show database error instead of redirecting. That's why we want to avoid that. We're just gonna have our revalidate and redirect after a try catch block.